There's a lot of things in Fortnite that are up for debate. Like, for example, Tfue. Is Tfue a genetically modified child grown by Epic Games programmed to be the very best while also looking exactly like the protagonist of the game itself? The world may never know. Controversy in Fortnite? I mean, what did you expect with a game centered around RNG?
I mean, good AR spread is about all the llama can hope for.
Silly Fred. How would bots like me succeed if aim was 100%? The sweats would likely take over the game entirely like they've done Overwatch, which I'm not trying to queue up against Soldier 76 in Fortnite. I already have to deal with real aimbotters. There's some things in Fortnite I think we can all agree aren't exactly favorable. But hey, don't let that distract you from the fact that you could use code T5G in the item shop at this moment in time when purchasing any new cosmetics, including that awesome new skin in the shop right now, to increase your blessed percentage in Fortnite. Put the odds in your favor, smash like, and let's get into it. Number 10, bad luck fishing. Imagine this. You're just casually playing a match of Battle Royale and you find a fishing rod. If you don't have that much great loot, of course, you're going to head down to the river and start to fish and try to get some better loot. Maybe you do it a few times and get the uncommon fish over and over. But then you keep trying and you get a gray pump shotgun or a pistol. At that point, you stood there for 5 whole minutes. The circle is closing in and, well, you have barely any more loot than you started with. Also, you're now surrounded by like 10 different types of fish that you can't even eat because you're on full health and shield. This is one of the most annoying things about fishing. And while it's exciting to have the chance to get some cool stuff from fishing in Fortnite, you never really do. The chances are just so low. All Fortnite players absolutely hate just getting nothing after fishing for a long time. And it happens all too often. It's at the point where I don't even bother fishing now. It was fun for the first few weeks, but after you get the same trash over and over, it gets boring. Do you agree? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments section below. Should they add more things that you can get from fishing periodically? Number 9, no mobile healing. Something that's quite annoying about Fortnite right now is the fact that there's almost 0 healing items for on the move. We have the bandage gun, but it takes up 2 inventory slots, and bandages only heal to 75 HP. On top of that, we only have minis and shields, which aren't exactly good for mobility. Fortnite players definitely miss using items like cozy campfires and chug splashes to gain health while on the move. And with Chapter 2, we don't really get any of that anymore. It'd be nice to get at least some more healing items in the meta that you don't have to stop and apply to use, whether it's through bringing old items back or coming up with a brand new one. I'm all for either of those options. But in at number 8, we've got the FOV Slider is still not in the game. Ever since the dawn of time, there's only one thing that all players have constantly asked for. One thing which Epic have time and time again refused to give us. The infamous FOV Slider. Yep, the thing that a lot of people have just asked for every single season. It's still not in the game. The Fortnite community is known for pressuring Epic into adding and removing things for the game, but not with the FOV Slider. Epic has remained insistent that they will never add one to the game. It's something a lot of people get angry about, especially pro players. If you don't know, an FOV Slider would be a setting that lets players change their field of view so they can see more without having to turn in-game. It's really just people wanting to be able to see more. Epic said in a blog post after banning stretched resolution in tournaments, we seek to avoid optional settings which provide players with a significant gameplay advantage. Fair play, but a lot of people would still like one. Number 7, the pump nerf. Oh man. In Season 4, they nerfed the pump's damage, and then in Season 5, they added a shotgun delay to get rid of double pump. Then in Season 6, Epic added an epic and legendary version of the pump shotgun. It was pretty good until Season 9, when Epic suddenly vaulted the pump and replaced it with the combat shotgun. These were dark days, and people constantly asked for the pump to be brought back, with Epic claiming it took up a majority of all eliminations in Fortnite, and that was why it was vaulted. But Epic eventually caved and added the uncommon and rare pumps back midway through the season. Since the launch of Chapter 2, we've had to deal with 5 different versions of the pump, and because of that, it makes the loot pool full of shotguns, and the only ones that'll win the battle are those with a purple or above pump in reality. So the nerf to the older pumps make it pretty stupid to have 5 versions of it, with only the top 2 being somewhat usable in fights, in my opinion. But in at number 6, we've got patch notes. Okay, Epic Games, where are the patch notes? Ever since Chapter 2, when Epic went into emo mode on Twitter with the black hole and stuff, they've started to rebel, and I guess they refuse to tell us what's in the patches now. In fact, they've begun to just not even tell us what they're releasing each update. When the harpoon gun was added into the game by a content update, Epic did not even say a single thing about what was added in the update and were silent on Twitter. Then when version 11.11 came around, they only pointed out some bug fixes on Trello rather than actual patch notes as per usual. Why won't you tell us what you changed, Epic? Epic, I'd really love to know what I'm downloading and also what an update is even coming out. Because right now, Fortnite has practically had nothing added to it, or so we think, because there's no patch notes telling us that. Man, is it annoying to not know anything about the patch, especially you don't even know one is coming, but because they release it at like 1 a.m. and you wake up the next day with a ton of new stuff. It's not fun. But at number 5, the lack of movement on map compared to Chapter 2. When Chapter 2 brought a brand new island to Fortnite, I can admit it got a little bit of overwhelm. All of us were super pumped about how we could explore this vast land, especially with the minimap only unlocking as we went to different areas. However, we all quickly grew out of exploration mode and went into competitive mode. This is a big map for this season, and well, there's not many ways to actually get around it. And while, like I said, I believe it was overcrowded previously, I think there's a better way to go about it to where we can have quick transportation without all of those crazy things going on around the map and meteor. There's so much on the map. It's obvious that Epic want us to walk everywhere, but sometimes it's just super hard to do that without getting sniped or eliminated in the storm. There are boats, but they're hard to find in the late game, and potentially, I would even be willing to say, less useful than Epic had imagined them. And sometimes the storm will be going the opposite direction to where water flows, so you can't even swim to safety. Also, with Chapter 2 vaulting launch pads, shockwave grenades, and pretty much every single weapon imaginable, good luck with mobility and stuff. But in at number 4, we've got the RPG spawn rates. When you're playing a casual or even competitive match of Fortnite, you're expecting a fair fight at every single encounter until you realize that pretty much everyone has a rocket launcher this season. It's like I feel I'm gonna get the high ground or advantage over my enemy, and then they whip out this huge rocket launcher and spam rockets in my base, so I fall down and get eliminated without any chance of even recovering. It's worse than the... Okay, maybe it's not worse than grenade launcher spam. That is just... It's no bueno. No matter what you do, you'll always encounter a person who just spams RPGs every time you play Fortnite. On top of that, the spawn rate for snipers could use some improving too. But the main issue is really how easy it is to find a rocket launcher. Not only that, but I swear that every single chest I've ever opened has given me a fishing rod. I don't want a fishing rod, Epic. Stop giving me the fishing rod. Number 3, skill-based matchmaking. Since Season 10, Epic has improved upon their skill-based matchmaking system, and while it's good for a bot like me who cannot win a single match in like a week, it's bad for when you actually get better at the game and then you come across people much better than you in skill-based matchmaking, and it turns pretty much any casual match into an arena game with no points. It also makes it extremely easy for pro players to create Smurf accounts, like Ghost Aiden, who was eventually banned for smurfing and getting easy eliminations by going after low-ability players. The whole point of a battle royale is that both good and bad players are pit against each other, and it's all about how lucky you get with the loot, and skill-based matchmaking really takes that RNG factor out of the game. Not only that, but it adds up to longer queue times, and you just coming up against the exact same tryhards every single match. Kind of takes the fun out of relying on your luck and random loot, which in some cases can be a lot of fun. Number 2, no loadouts. Basically, during regular Fortnite matches, you'll get eliminated by an enemy, assuming you don't win the game, and if your teammates also get taken out, then you'll be left spectating the person that eliminated you. Something we all hate is that with Chapter 2, you can no longer see the enemy's loadout when spectating them, which sucks, but because obviously it'd be nice to see what the enemy team had. It's not that big of a problem competitive-wise, but it's just a tad bit annoying when you really want to see what the guy who eliminated you was using and any advantages they might have had over you. Stuff like that. Then again, there's a super helpful ready up button there instead, but why not have both and move the ready up button somewhere else? But that's just a suggestion. Epic Games, you know what to do. Do your thing. Honorable mention number 1, bots in matches. This is an honorable mention because bots are a great addition to Fortnite. They added me, guys, and it really made the game fun for the first few weeks, but a lot of players dislike them because Epic like to fill games with them rather than keep it balanced. There are too many bots in the game, and you feel like your win isn't deserved by the end of it because a majority of your eliminations are just from taking out bots who can barely aim. Sometimes I feel like I'm playing Fallout with how desolate it is because of these bots. Just when you thought you got an easy clap, it's just a bot and you just feel like a dummy. Are we even counting bots towards the kill record? I don't know. It's even worse when they eliminate you, and I'm totally not speaking from experience because, I would never... I definitely have not been taken out by a bot before. What do you mean? I'm not defensive. You are. Number 1, increase the loot pool. How many weapons are vaulted? The number one thing that all players hate in Fortnite right now is how many weapons have just been vaulted. Just how small the amount of items currently in the game are. While you don't want any kind of gambling on the site, you do want that slot machine random factor when you're rolling through the loot. When Chapter 2 came around and vaulted pretty much everything in existence, it was super refreshing to go back to square one and have practically the OG weapons back. But it's been just over a month since Chapter 2 came out, and we haven't had a single brand new item except the harpoon gun, which was released with absolutely no prior warning warning or announcement. We're supposed to get an item every week, but right now we're at the average of 1 item per month. How crazy is that? It makes the loot pool feel tiny, but I'm gonna put my faith in Epic and hope they come in clutch with an insane Christmas update that adds a new item every day or something like they did last year with the 12 days of Fortnite. The low loot pool kind of results in more problems like a bad RPG and sniper spawn rate, the lack of mobility, having too many pump shotgun options, and also not having mobile healing items. A bigger loot pool would vastly solve a majority of the problems on this list, which is why having a tiny loot pool in Fortnite right now is among the most hated things for both Chapter 2 and the game entirely. But hey, you can't click off the video just yet. Check out this one right over here after you use code T5G in the item shop. That new skin in the item shop is pretty crazy, so check it out and make sure to click this link on screen, the annotation, to watch one of our other videos. Keep it here on Top 5 Gaming.